Hello and welcome to Patrick's Models and Transport. Right, good evening and welcome to a quick overview video on what's been going on here with the GéGé BB9240. I'm trying to center everything to get all my bits and pieces visible here on the modeling mat. Okay, right, we can begin. So far I've dismantled, cleaned and lubricated the bogie. I've called this one here bogie number 1. I've given it a number. Of course they're identical, but you know, I always follow the rule, try and not mix parts up on a locomotive that is on a very old locomotive. I've managed to clean the axles as well. All the old decayed drive belts were on here, so these are nice, smooth running and nicely lubricated with technical petroleum jelly in the axle boxes. I also marked that the front here is number 1, and I have also marked this one as number 2. And now we're going to take off bogie number 2. But before doing that, let's continue seeing what we did. I also dismantled the motor completely and cleaned it. I've already assembled the motor, all the various washers in the motor. You see here's a clean commutator, 2 washers here and another washer there. So this is just ready for reassembly. But it'll be done on video. We'll reassemble it and lubricate it and try and see if we can. Now the motor bearings are nice and clean. This rear motor bearing here, where there's the magnet, it's a bit on the worn outside, but I think it should do the job. The front bearing seems to be in much better condition, but I think that if we pack this bearing here with sufficient technical petroleum jelly, just enough, you know, to sort of reduce any wobbling. Oh, hello, that got pulled out. That's the magnet. Very, very powerful magnet. It just sucked the washer off the back of the motor here. That might have disappeared, and then where did that go? Very, very strong magnet anyway. So that means that the motor is a good motor. So I did this. This is ready for assembling. Also cleaned the brushes. There's the brushes cleaned and the respective brush housing screws. Then I cleaned, we can see them in here, I cleaned the drive shafts, the 2 drive shafts. These were in pretty rusty. So first I cleaned them with lighter fluids. Then I used the brass wire brush on them, and then I polished them up using the fiberglass pencil, and they came pretty decent, I would say, but much better than what they were before. They were really very, very oxidized looking, really scruffy. So they are ready for reassembly once we eventually get the drive belts. We'll have to find the drive belts for the locomotive. So at the moment we still have to disconnect this bogie here. So the other bogie number 2. So we're just going to very quickly do that. So quickest thing to do, because I didn't show you this on the previous video, just the first video, I just took it off on my own just to see what was going on. Okay, right, let's be quick because, okay, so first things first, I hope you can see what I'm doing here. We have to remove the contacts from the bogie. They are held in place by 2 screws, which screws incidentally also hold the bogie together. So we're just going to slacken these now. We'll slacken them just enough to remove the contacts which slide in here. So we don't need and we don't want to damage the soldering. I don't want to resolder these because honestly soldering is in good condition. Let's get a pair of tweezers, if I remember. Here's my tweezers, here they are. Here's my tweezers. I'll just pull them out. One. They need a good clean anyway, with lighter fluid or contact spray. I might even just clean them up with contact spray. So this is the assembly of the, these are all the contacts, and the, oh, can all come out. It's all disconnected. Let's take it all out. Okay, here's the whole, all the wiring. We can actually lift all the wiring out of the locomotive. Okay, better lift it out. Why not? I'll put it here on the computer, out of harm's way. Out of harm's way. We don't want that falling to bits. Okay, so that's done. Now I will turn the locomotive, the locomotive upside down on its cradle. Now there's no cables that can get damaged. Here you can see the screws, the motor retaining screws, which are there. They just stayed in there. There's the base, here there's the weight. The whole chassis is made of what looks like, either it's plastic coated metal by the look of it. So I will go over this with a magnet to understand. It looks like plastic coated metal, yes. It's metal coated in plastic, because you can see it shining through here. This is plastic coated metal. Okay, so we'll just turn this round and go and remove bogie. Maybe you can actually see what I'm doing. Yep, yes you can. So let's move this bogie out of the roads. We don't need to see that. We're going to remove the bogie by opening this screw. It's very easy, very simple job. Not even tight. So you remove the bogie, and there. Oh, that just fell out. That's great. Okay. So I think we can just pull this up. Okay, that's the bogie. This is a bogie that has to be cleaned and serviced. And this bogie screws into this brass screw housing here, which also, and it's all held in position. Actually, no, this is just a washer. This is just like a big washer here, and it screws into here. This is the drive shaft mount here. So this actually just popped out. Okay, that didn't happen on the other one. Maybe it was stuck in better. So here there's a washer, so we have to be very careful not to lose the washer here. Okay, right, there's the bogie, there's the washer, and we just want to put things in exactly as they are and not to lose anything, because losing these bits would mean that the locomotive is a write-off. So we pop them in there out the road. Okay, and now the chassis is practically completely dismantled. So this sits in here like that, and this one sits in here like that. And I didn't even consider pulling this one out, but it can be pulled out. So I think what we're going to do, considering everything's very, very dirty, let me see if everything's in there like that. That sits nicely. Yep. I think we can just take, for the sake of cleaning the chassis properly and cleaning these properly, because these are very, very dirty, we'll just take these here out, but we'll mark them, because of course things have taken a certain shape and, you know, certain wear and tear. We'll mark them with a number. We'll call this one here number 2, and we'll call this one here number 1. And of course we'll also make sure, of course we know where to put them, because there's a shape here. The point is towards the direction of travel of the locomotive. So we have 1 and 2. We can take 1 and 2 off. These will be cleaned properly. And here's our locomotive. The chassis I've just not taken these screws out because they sit in here nice and tight, and that's the bare chassis, which, considering it's been dismantled, will also get rid of some rust here and there just to give it a good clean. And that's the chassis of the GéGé locomotive. This bogie has to be dismantled to be cleaned, and that's it. That's it. So this stuff has to be cleaned. We'll just pop that in there. Of course, I photographed when I dismantled the first bogie. I photographed everything so that I know exactly what's what and what goes where, because that's very, very important. So this is the other bogie, the one that still has to be cleaned. You can see that there are caked on decayed rubber drive belt there. Not on this one, but that's it. And let's compare the wheels. It's less free rolling now, but of course it's got the technical petroleum jelly, and everything will melt down, but it feels much better, the clean one. So there's a lot of cleaning to do here. I cleaned, if you can compare the condition of the wheels, this is the clean one, this is the dirty one. Not bad anyway. This is very high quality brass, so it's not bad, not bad. Here I also cleaned all the screws, because these screws conduct electricity. Electricity is picked up by the wheels, and the contact point between the wheels and the actual Zamac bogie is the axle cone. So that has to be a perfect electrical connection here, and transmission of electricity through the bogie to the contacts, which are here by means of these screws. So that's very, very important. Okay, right, so that's enough for tonight, and I think that's all I had to show you for the moment. There will be another video that I'll post before this one, which will be the video related to dismantling and cleaning the motor, and that's done. And so I'll be posting that, then I'll post this video, and then I'll actually post the reassembly of the motor, because before reassembling the motor, or I'll reassemble the motor, grease it and everything, just give it a quick test on a controller without fitting it to the chassis, because I'll actually then reassemble. I would like to get the drive belts, to find the drive belts, that way I can reassemble everything, because to fit the drive belts I'll have to open half, at least take one of the bogie plates, side plates, off to be able to fit the belts on here, and then screw it back together and then catch the belts on the drive shafts. It's a bit of a footery job, let's say, but I think the result will be very, very good. I'd also thought, I even considered, putting lights in here, but I think it's complicated enough for let's not make things, bite off more than we can chew. It would be nice even with lights, obviously. It would be, everything's nice with lights in as well, but first we see how it works as it is, as it was designed in the factory, and then we can consider putting lights in the thing as well. Yep, I think that might be the wiser idea, the wiser option. Mentioning lights, I'm going to be fitting lights in another locomotive that you've not met yet, and I'm definitely going to do that. One of my very first locomotives. No, not the BR Class 39, we've spoken about that one on many, many occasions. It's the other first locomotive. Maybe somebody might even guess what it is. It's an Italian one, and a very Italian locomotive, and it's not steam. Okay, so that's it. If you like the video, you can give it a like, and of course subscribe to the channel, because it's of great help. And when I eventually manage to have some time, I'm going to have to do a bit of enhancing to the channel and things, so you'll find out about that when I eventually get around to do it. And of course click the notification bell, that way we can see what's going on. Okay, right, cheerio, and see you next time. And one last thing, like Lieutenant Colombo always says, I'm going to be doing a video in Italian, an Italian recap video, quindi farò un video riassuntivo in italiano dei lavori che ho fatto qui sulla GéGé, locomotiva GéGé BB9240 SNCF. Ok, cheerio and see you next time. Ciao a tutti!